Hello class, and welcome to section 10.3, which is all about triangles. By the end of today's lesson, you'll be able to identify, classify, and solve some problems involving triangles. So a triangle, as you know, is a geometric figure with 3 sides and 3 angles. The sides are formed by line segments, meaning that the lines stop and don't go on forever. And then every pair of line segments intersects at a vertex. So here's basic triangle. When you are looking at triangles, a few things you might need to talk about are the sides. So this side right here, this first part of the triangle, you have 2 options for naming this side of the triangle. Your first option would be AC with a line over the top of it, or the second option would be CA. So depending on which direction that you are going. Your next side of the triangle, so this left part, again, 2 options for naming the sides. You either have BA or you have AB. And then your third side for this particular triangle, you can either call BC or CB. Just like you name the sides, you can also name the angles. So I'm going to say this angle down here, you would classify as angle B. The top angle up here, I'm going to go ahead and call that angle A. And then this third angle over here, I'm going to call it angle C. When you name a triangle, you can name them in any order. So one possible name for this triangle would be triangle ABC. Another possible name could be triangle CBA. Or you could have triangle BAC. It doesn't really matter. You just have to put the triangle and then the 3 letters. The last thing I would like to show you is if I take my 3 angles, so right here is angle A, then we've got down here is going to be angle B, and then finally over on this right side we have angle C. I want to make sure I get these exact so that it works out to show you what I want. So if I take those 3 angles, so angle B, I'm just going to rotate this a little bit, didn't change the size of it, just twisted it, and then angle C, do the same thing, not changing the size of it, just twisting it a little bit, and then angle A, so I took my 3 angle measurements, didn't change the sizes of them, just changed it the way they were oriented. And notice, when I put those 3 angles together, all together, they end up forming a straight line. This is why triangles have 180 degrees as their total angles. Because whenever you pull the 3 angles out separately and rearrange them, you would end up with this straight 180 degree angle. So we're now going to use that information about triangles adding up to 180 degrees to solve for some angle measurements. So we're going to find the measure of angle E in triangle DEF if the measure of D is 62 degrees and the measure of F is 39 degrees. So what that means is if I take angle E and add on angle D and add on angle F, we need our total to be 180 degrees. You can simplify the equation by doing 62 plus 39, which means x plus 101 is equal to 180. Then you can solve this equation by subtracting 101 from both sides and getting an answer of x is equal to 79. So what that means is the measure of angle E is equal to 79 degrees. So we can use this idea to help us find angle measurements. Go ahead and try this one, finding the value of x on your own. So you add it up, minus 143, you get an answer of angle x is equal to 37 degrees. We can also use the ideas of ratios to help us find angle measurements. So the angle measurements for triangle ABC are in ratio 1 to 3 to 8. What are the angle measurements? So when we do that, what that means is that this first measurement, this 1, means 1x, so 1 times something. Then our second one says 3, so that means we have 3 times whatever. And then the last part says 8, so that means we have 8 times whatever. And since it's a triangle, it has to add up to 180. We can simplify this expression by doing 1x plus 3x, which is 4x, plus 8 more x's, gives us 12x is equal to 180. In order to solve then, you are going to divide by 12 on both sides of the equation, giving you that x is equal to 15, which means your angle measurements then, for the first one, 1 times 15 gives you 15 degrees. Then you do 3 times 15, which is 45 degrees. And then you do 8 times 15, which is 120 degrees. So that is how we can use ratios to find angle measurements. Go ahead and try this one on your own. So 1x plus 3x plus 6x gives you 10x. Dividing by 10 gives you measurements of 18 degrees, 54 degrees, and 108 degrees. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about classifying triangles. One of the ways to classify triangles is by using the angles. So just a quick recap. This is an acute angle. We've got our right angle, which is exactly 90 degrees. We've got our obtuse angle, which is bigger than 180. And then we have our straight angle. When you classify triangles, you are classifying them by their largest angle. So when we look at this triangle, we've got 52, 58, and 70. 70 is our largest angle. So this is what we would call an acute triangle because our largest angle is acute. If you look at the one over here on the right side, our largest angle is the 90 degrees. So this one would be called a right triangle because our largest angle is 90 degrees. Go ahead and classify this triangle on your own. Largest angle is 105, so we have an obtuse triangle. The other way that you can classify triangles is by using the sides. We want the sides to be congruent, meaning the same length. If none of the sides are the same, we call this a scalene triangle. If all 3 of the sides are the same, it's an equilateral triangle. And if 2 of the sides are the same, it's an isosceles triangle. So none the same scalene, 3 the same equilateral, and 2 the same isosceles. So now we're going to classify based on angles and sides. So looking at this one over here, first you're going to find your biggest angle. So that's going to be 68 degrees. And then we've got 2 matching sides. So we would call this an acute isosceles triangle. So the angle and then the sides using to classify. Looking over on our other side, we've got our biggest angle. Well, all of the angles are 60 degrees and all of the sides match. So this is an acute equilateral triangle. because our biggest angle is acute and all of our sides are the same. Go ahead and classify this triangle by angles and sides on your own. This is a right scalene triangle. Our biggest angle is 90 degrees and none of our sides are matching. If you have questions about this or anything else from the lesson, please feel free to reach out and let me know.